It's that time of the year again, and that means you might be looking to buy a 3D printer, whether for yourself or for others as a gift for the holidays. There are tons of options out there, but I've boiled it down to 5 FDM printers that I like the best, under $500. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and you like this kind of thing where we talk all about 3D printing, 3D scanning, printer reviews, and the sort, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. We've got a rundown of some of my favorite 3D printers for the money right now. And we're talking $500 or less. There's a lot of great value out there under $500 for 3D printers right now. And if you think that I'm the big Prusa fanboy that's gonna put the Prusa Mini at the #1 spot, you're sorely mistaken. Just make sure you stay tuned. What we have here on the table, we've got a Ender 3 V2, a Prusa Mini with a E3D Revo Micro, as well as a upgraded extruder setup, and a CR10 V3 clone. A couple of good options. Every one of these machines comes in at under $500. But let's start at the bottom of our list and work our way up. At the bottom, we have CR10 and Ender clones. To be clear, I don't recommend buying from Creality. While they are the largest company out there, and if you are near a Micro Center and they're offering the $100 Ender 3 deal, it's a pretty good price and a good deal all around. But Creality has some known issues when it comes to dealing with intellectual property, both in the United States and abroad. In fact, they are currently, as of recording this video, in litigation with a very large 3D scanning company, Artec, regarding their use of trademarks and copywritten materials. So, take that for whatever you think it might be worth. But they are also known to set the standard when it comes to machines. And the Ender 3 and CR10 lines are clones of Prusa's, or the i3 design, we should say. But they're also very cheap. And you can't really ignore that. This one is some weird off-brand pyramid, I believe. CR10 V3 clone. I got it for less than $200 on an Amazon deal or something like that. And it needs work. So it actually needs to be completely rewired for the bed. There's a long story there. We'll get into it at a later date. Get subscribed if you want to see that. But at under $500, it's a big printer. There's a lot of real estate here and a lot of good value, I think, for your money. Does it make a good first printer? I believe the V3 gets you a lot closer to a good first printer because it utilizes a at least semi-direct drive extruder rather than having the Bowden drive all the way in the back with a really long tube. Direct drive is a lot easier to work with when it comes to 3D printers, and it is normally my recommendation. I say that, but the Mini is Bowden. It just has much better software support. In terms of software, you have your open availability from Cura, Prusa Slicer, Curimoto, whatever you might want. And in fact, I've talked a lot about those slicers. We'll card to that entire playlist so you guys can take a look at it. But I believe for sub $200 or even $250, it is a good value of a 3D printer, but I think there are much better values if you're willing to have an IOU during the holiday season, because some of these are not yet released. Obviously, the CR10 V3 has been around for a while, but things like cable management and other things are value engineered out, we should say. From there, we move into the Anycubic Kobra Neo in the 4th position. Now, I reached out to Anycubic to get one for this video for review and all that, but they didn't reply to my emails. The Kobra Neo is effectively a Ender 3 clone, and it brings a lot of the value you'd like to see out of an Ender 3, but with way more options, things that you would normally see on a Prusa. So let's run through the Kobra Neo and talk about it a little bit. The Kobra Neo comes mostly assembled, as most of these printers would. It is a fully direct drive setup. It is a non-all metal hot end, so that is a couple of points deducted there. It has auto bed leveling, as well as a double-sided PEI magnetic flex plate, things that like this Ender 3 V2 does not. That is a great value of a machine, and they come in at roughly $250 US. This seems to be the new standard for your Ender clones. Rather than hitting sub $200, we're going a little bit over 200, but we're providing a lot of value. I bought this Ender 3 V2 for less than $170 back about a year and a half ago. I believe I even did a video on this where I said, it punches well above its weight class, but it's still not for me. I'm a business owner, and realistically, it is not the easiest thing to use and is not as reliable as something like a Prusa. But at half the price, it's driving a hard bargain. I will absolutely admit that. Now, the Neo comes with a lot of those upgrades, things like direct drive. You don't have this Bowden tube anymore. Makes it a lot easier to use. Double-sided flex plates like the Prusa has, so it's really simple to pull your parts off. And magnetic being, it sticks, and hopefully doesn't let go. Now, the reason that the Neo is not higher is because Anycubic, while an amazing company, they're really primarily focusing on their resin line, or at least that's what it appears to me. Their resin line is actually why I'm debating on doing a top 5 resin printer video. So let me know in those comments if that's something you guys would like to see. But I believe their move into the DLP world signifies that they're not really focusing too much on the FDM side of things and more focusing on the resin. Now, DLP resin printers are amazing and there's a lot of great value to them. Again, I don't have one to test with, so you're gonna have to take my word for it because of the research, but their Kobra Neo seems to be a great value. Now, you can get the Kobra Go, but instead of being a direct drive, it is a Bowden. It is a much further disassembled machine, so it will require more work to put it together, but otherwise they're relatively similar machines at reasonably similar prices. From there, we move into our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. If you are looking to get a 3D printer, but maybe you're a little apprehensive of, well, what am I going to use it for? What is the person that I'm getting it for going to use it for? You can reach out to the pros at 3D Musketeers. With over 40 years of combined experience, 15 of those years being mine alone, and over 40 3D printers to help you make awesome every single day, we are your one-stop source when it comes to rapid prototyping and product development. But if you are into the 3D scanning side of things, we have tons of scanners now. I'm buying more scanners. Please send help. Everything from Artec Evas, Artec Ray, maybe an Artec Spider coming soon, and a wide gamut of more affordable ones like the Revo Point Mini, which we covered in a recent video. We utilize those machines to get your parts made digital so you can make all the adjustments you might need to 3D print them in real life. We recognize not everyone is looking to outsource their 3D printing right now. If you're watching this, you're probably more interested in buying a 3D printer rather than outsourcing it, but you might find this information useful. And if you do, and you want to kick a buck or two into that creator fund every month, we'd greatly appreciate it. You can join our Patreon or our YouTube channel members for as low as $1 a month. That helps make these videos possible and allows me to maybe buy the printers that companies deny me rather than saying you're just gonna have to trust me. Bit of a bummer on that one, of course. But we recognize not everybody is able to spend some money this holiday season. Times are tight right now and the economy is not going all that great. And if that's your case, a like, subscribe, and a share goes a long way to helping the channel grow and allowing us to afford more fun videos like this. But enough of that, let's get into our third choice. The Prusa Mini. The Mini is in the top 3, but it is not number 1. If you remember last year, which I'll card to that video so you guys can take a look, the Prusa Mini took home the championship because at $450 US or so, it's under $500 delivered, the Mini provides phenomenal value from a company that really supports the community with an amazing slicer package around it, and the damn thing just works. Now, this one is not a stock Mini. There's a stock Mini over there, but it is off camera and you guys can't see it. Here's a stock Mini. And what I love about them is not just because they're cantilevered, so they're nice and easy to see, but they're very good out of the box. Now, I will say some people do have problems with the extruder or hot end assembly on their Minis. We have 4, and I have not experienced any of those issues. If you do, I highly recommend going to the Revo Micro upgrade. And of course, that's a great gift for a birthday or another holiday, because holidays are always around the corner, it feels like. But the nice thing about the Revo system is it's relatively affordable. The fully loaded kit's about 150 bucks, and that enables you to cold change nozzles, which is something that most other 3D printers cannot do. Now, that being said, the stock Mini to me is a great platform, but it still needs a little bit of work. The software really makes it quite a bit better, and the Mini, with the availability to print things like handles and USB relocators, and now it actually is Wi-Fi. It's not built in. You have to add an external chip to do that, but it does fit directly onto the motherboard. If you did want to network this printer, you have the availability to do it. Whereas all the more affordable printers don't have those options. You're not able to do that stock. So if networking your 3D printer and having it on a Wi-Fi network or a wired network, of course it supports Ethernet from factory, the Prusa does this. And with Prusa's online software tools to run even a farm of printers like this, it does make utilizing the Mini or even the Mark IIIs very, very easy. Now, the Mark IIIs would be on this list, but it is way too expensive. At $800 for the kit, I think there are better values for 3D printers out there right now. But if you do want a set and forget type of 3D printer that is just going to work every damn time, always, the Mark III's is a great option. It's just, well, about $1,000 by the time you get it in. But I will say, I really enjoy the minis. It's an open platform, fully open source, of course, with lots of availability for upgrades. My buddy Neil, who makes amazing, amazing mods for the mini, just released his Bulbasaur model. If you guys like that kind of thing, we'll link it in the description so you can take a look. From there, we move into the number 2 spot, the Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro and 3 Plus. These are printers that, again, I reached out to Elegoo and we were told they do not have any more review units to send out. And previously when I reached out to Elegoo, they said, come back when you have 10K. And we don't have 10K, so no printers for us. But Uncle Jesse has done amazing coverage of those machines. And honestly, I am really excited for them. They are basically the Anycubic Kobra Neo, except they've been around a little bit longer, I believe. It has all the features that I would like to see from a 3D printer, and it's really affordable. At $230 US currently, the Pro is amazing. Direct drive, non-all metal. That's the one thing it is missing, is an all metal hot end. But they can be relatively affordable from companies like Micro Swiss that are direct drop-in fits for it. So if you do want to save $1 or $2 and support Elegoo, that's a great option as well. But to me, it is the Plus that is the winner here. At $350, it is a much larger machine. The Plus is 320 by 320 by 400, which is larger than this machine, X and Y, and the same as the Z. It is direct drive, PEI flex plate, auto bed leveling. All the features you would want to see in an affordable printer are finally trickling down. And at $379, that's a great deal. I don't believe that I could take this printer and make it as good as one from Elegoo for the same price, with the same features, things like their removable magnetic screen, which might not seem like a big deal to you, but normally screens are just attached with these crappy wires, and it's a great way to mess things up. Their magnetic screen has a big long cable so you can put the screen wherever you want, whether that is easier for you to get to or harder for little hands to reach. It makes it so you can put things where you want it. They have a light bar on them so you can see your print, which honestly, massive quality of life thing. And I do like it, not a necessity, but it's a cool to have. But I believe the Plus is the value here at $350. That is aggressive as hell. And they are gonna be releasing the Max at $470 US. And that thing is 420 by 420. Nice. By 500 millimeters. That is a massive, massive printer. That is 18 by 18 by 20 inches. That is a huge bed slinger. Now, personally, I think that is way too big of a printer to have as a bed slinger. The bed's gonna take forever to heat up, and you are absolutely going to be dealing with some level of warping. Now, maybe the auto bed leveling is able to compensate for that. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I don't have the printers. But I'd say if you do want a big printer to do cosplay stuff, the Plus is a pretty good option. But if you need bigger, hey, the Max is of course still there. But I think the Pro at $230 US is a great budget option for beginners that is not going to break the bank as much as a Mini, but not be as complicated as either one of these. It's got a lot of those quality of life features. And of course, because Elegoo really is active in the community, they are actively building not only their resin side, but their FDM side. I feel like they had their big move with the Jupiter, the Saturn II 8K, and a few of the other massive resin printers that they're working on. Now they're going back to FDM for a little bit, and I kind of like it. The other thing, and this is more of a personal thing with Elegoo, we utilize their resin printers and they have been amazing. Not just in after-sales support, but as a company. They stand up for the little guy, and they make certain that if something does need to be open source, that they follow the rules. That's a big deal to me. And if something is done wrong, maybe a staff member does something where they maybe post a file or post a photo without permission, they instantly get it corrected. That kind of thing stands out to me, whereas other companies have had to been called out quite a bit more than that. Now, before we get to the number 1 spot, I do want to bring up some honorable mentions. I think I would be tarred and feathered if I didn't bring up the Bambu Lab P1P. That is going to win an honorable mention. And the reason it wins an honorable mention is because I don't know the quality of that printer. The P1P, as far as I can tell, as far as most of the reviewers can tell, is just a stripped down X1 carbon. Wherever they could save a buck, they saved a buck, and it's coming in at $700 US. And that is aggressive pricing. It is going to put the Mark III's most likely to shame. And all of that will depend on whether or not Bambu Lab can get their act together, or at least be more predictable when it comes to their service. Now, the Bambu Lab system is closed source, which means you cannot just go onto Amazon and buy generic parts from God knows who. You must buy it direct from the manufacturer. Now, so far, they've done a pretty decent job of keeping their parts in stock and shipping reasonably fast. However, support has been lacking. Some of our Patreon supporters that own the machines that have had issues have had great experiences, and others have been absolutely terrible, with them having to do a lot more maintenance and work on their X1 carbons than you would think for a over $1,000 machine. The P1P doesn't come with side panels, it doesn't come with a hardened nozzle, it doesn't even come with ball bearings at the top of the lead screws, which is fine, the bushings will be just fine. And it doesn't come with the big blower fan, so if you are looking to do fast 3D printing, you might need to add that blower fan. It doesn't have a touch screen. Basically, it's a stripped down version of the X1 carbon. But if you're looking to get into stupid fast 3D printing and don't really want to take the time to build a Voron, then it's not a bad option. But buyer beware, they're a very new company, and we don't know yet how they're going to handle their success. They could handle it very well and be able to hire in enough people to build a very good support network, or they could absolutely whiff it. We don't know yet. Now, with that being said, I love the Mark III's. The Mark III's is a 5-year-old printer, and while it is not as fast or as sexy or anything compared to the Bambu Lab, what it is reliable. We have 9 Mark III's here, including one that sits under the table. Look, I'm not kidding. See? Mark III's. This one's actually going to be getting a Quinley auto printing setup, so stay tuned if you want to see something like that. And that one was purchased secondhand, but it was purchased from somebody who I trust. And there, it's an amazing kit build, by the way. Massive, full color, step-by-step instructional booklet. And it is so good that the printer comes with a bag of gummy bears. And throughout the entire build process, it tells you to stop, take a break, and eat a measured amount of gummy bears. If a company has gone that far to think about that, imagine the other things that they haven't missed. The builds for Prusas are some of my favorite builds, and to this day, we still buy kits. That's also because we add some upgrade parts to them to make quality of life easier for us as a company when it comes to tightening belts and other maintenance for the machine. It doesn't make the printer print any better, it just makes my life a little bit easier, which to me is worth its weight in gold. Other honorable mentions, of course, if you're looking to spend more money, the X1 Carbon is going to be on there as well with the AMS. There's not really a better multi-color print setup right now. The MMU or multi-material upgrade 2S from Prusa is okay. Some people have great experiences, others ride the struggle bus. And from what I can see on the AMS, when you can get them working, they just work. And with the ability to add up to 16 colors, that's 4 AMS units on one Bambu Lab, that's kind of nuts. And I dig that, so I'll give them credit where it's due. But understand again, I don't own one of those, so take that with a grain of salt. But now, what you've all been waiting for, the #1 spot. It is the Sovol SV06. The Sovol SV06, as far as I can tell, is basically a clone of the Mark III's. It has auto bed leveling. It has a direct drive all metal hot end. It has dual Z. It has the crappy monochromatic screens that I don't really like, but fine, whatever, they're cheap. Prusa did the same thing, just with a different style of screen. But what it has that the other ones don't is a planetary direct drive gearbox. And that means you get lots of torque out of your stepper motor. So you're likely not gonna have any issues with gripping onto your filament. And whether you're doing soft materials, hard materials, or something in between, that machine should handle it no problem. Similar to when we reached out to Elegoo, we reached out to Sovol. Sovol said, "Thanks for your interest. If you'd like to review one, you can buy one. Here's a link to our store." That hurt a little bit. And I guess, okay, we're not the biggest channel out there, but you guys can help us. that's your kind of thing. So I don't have one. But Daniel over at ModBot did a wonderful review of it, and outside of his x-axis being a little bit skewed, which I think is an easily solvable problem and was for him, the machine seems to print really, really well. And at $260-ish, it goes on sale down to $230, and I believe retail supposed to be $300. That printer is an amazing value. You really do have a Mark III's clone for sub $300. Now, mind you, I don't have any personal experience with Sovol as a company. I've never used their printers before, but it looks like they've got a bit of a winner with this one. At $230 US, I don't think you're gonna get a better printer that is effectively a Mark III's clone. It has everything that I would like to see on a machine and more. And that price point is insane. I'm glad that we're seeing manufacturers push more, not just for cheap machines, like these are cheap machines, but machines that have a lot of value to the end user. I believe that's where we need to move as an industry, and I'm glad to see that in 2022, a lot of manufacturers have moved there. With the advent of Prusa Slicer and Cura and all these other slicers that are being updated all the time, I'm looking at you, Simplify 3D. When the hell are you gonna release 5.0? This is a little ridiculous. No one should be buying Simplify 3D. Go use Prusa Slicer, go use Cura. And with companies releasing amazing machines, it's really tough for me to recommend to spend $1,000 anymore. Hell, it's tough for me to recommend spending $500. Now, again, I don't have experience with the Elegoo brand of FDM printers or the Sovol or the Anycubic, and yet they take up 3 of the 5 in our top 5 list. But after seeing the first looks and reviews from some of the reviewers out there, people that I trust, that I know, that I talk to, I believe these machines are well worth their value. And I don't think that you buying it will be disappointed. Now understand, you do somewhat get what you pay for. You're going to get more assistance from the manufacturer with something like a Prusa, where they have 24/7 live chat with an actual human, whereas companies like Sovol and Elegoo don't. With that being said, the communities around all these printers are pretty big, and the Sovol SV06 has taken off. I know a guy that has 6 of them now and absolutely loves them and just buys more whenever he can. I think if you're looking to start up a business, that's not a bad printer to start with. I would still have a Prusa or 2, because I just like them and they're reliable. But if I was looking to start a business right now, I would certainly be considering other options other than Prusa. Does that mean Prusa is dead to me? No. In fact, they're not dead at all. I'm a big Prusa fanboy. But you have to give credit where it's due and be honest with the reviews and be honest with the price points. If I came in here and said, oh, spend $500 on a Prusa Mini, everything else sucks, I'm lying to you. And I think it's valuable to mention that. While I don't have experience with a lot of these machines, they're pretty much the same as the machines you see here, just with a little bit of this sprinkled into it. And if that's the case, you've got one hell of a winner on your plate. Let me know what you guys think of this list. If there's anything that I missed, let me know down in those comments below. But stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. There's a spider in front of the camera, but I don't, okay, you can't see it on camera. Good. And that's kind of crazy to me. Oh, now it's definitely in view of the camera. Yep, there it goes. Now it's out of view. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you want to get your name listed with the elite group of Musketeers, you can use those links in that description and join for as low as $1 a month. $10 gets you into our private Discord. We get to hang out with the team and I. Right below me will be my video on this topic from last year where we talk about it. Right, that will be a video that the algorithm thinks you should click. I think you should click both of them and leave a comment, which is where I will see you as well as in the next one. Take care.